Welcome to the 2025 Super Bowl pod slash fantasy honors slash all fantasy team morning after. We'll get right into it and mostly focusing on the fantasy honors and stuff because it's going to take a while. So again, new updates to the points. We have the Black Dingoes, Dynamite, Badgers, and TP and Team Prices Right all advancing to the Super Bowl pod. Congratulations. They've all earned at least $75 and will play in the next 2 weeks. That home field advantage is only applied this week. Next week, there is no additional home field advantage. Myself and the Bruisers will play for an additional. We've won $20. We'll win. Winner will get another $30 here. Whoever gets fifth place. In the consolation round, we have the Minotaurs playing the Colts, and then the Maulers taking on the Little Big Men. They're going to see who can win. Last year, we had the Colts taking it home, see if he can win for back-to-back years, which has not been done very often. I think one other time in history. I'll have to check that in 2 weeks when we see who did win the consolation round and the Jim Shavina belt, and also the championship this year. So, all fantasy team this year we had quarterback Josh Allen from the Little Big Men. Second straight year, the Little Big Men had the quarterback of the year. Last year, Lamar Jackson had 17.9. Lamar, it didn't seem like Josh Allen that great a year, but he did have a couple really big weeks, and he was pretty consistent this year. So that was Josh Allen's the quarterback. Running back, surprise, surprise, Jonathan Taylor from the Colts, 17 or 15.3 points. For a while, he was at like 18. Last couple weeks, he kind of came back to earth, but still a great year. Last year, Saquon, who also had a really good year, had 14 points per game. Jahmyr Gibbs, 13.7 points per game for the Badgers. Looks like he's starting to come in his own as being arguably the top back in football. Last year, Derrick Henry was RB2 and he had 12.9. So running backs were a little bit better this year. Receivers, a little bit worse. Jackson Smith and Jigba for the Cardinals. I forgot to put my logo on there. Had 10.4 points last year. Jamar Chase had 12.2. So the wide receiver one was down this year. Oh, there it is. Devontae Adams at 9.3 points per game for the Horn Dogs. I said at the time was the best pick in the draft, probably maybe the best pick in the draft next to JSN, since I think Adams went earlier in the fifth, and I got JSN later in the fifth, but of course a piece there. You can see last year how good Jamar Chase was, considering the second receiver last year was George Kittle, and he had 8, so 4.3 points per game better last year from Chase, which was amazing. Puka Nacua, number 3. Rashee Rice had a good year. George Pickens had a good year. But Puka was a little bit better per game than Pickens and had more points, obviously, than Rice due to the suspension. Amon-Ra last year had 7.8. So Dr. Dangerous had a good choice with Puka Nacua. Flex, Christian McCaffrey, 12.5 points per game from the Minotaurs. Guy I kind of wanted to draft in the first, but you got him. Last year, Joe Mixon, tremendous year, 13.3 in a lost year this year for him. So running backs last year were really good all around, really dense at the top. Kicker this year, Jason Myers was amazing, especially in the other league where you get points for distance because he kicked a lot of long ones. Still really good here, 10.4 points per game for Team Prices Right. Chris Boswell last year at 10.5. And the defense, drafted by Team Prices Right, let go middle of the year. I don't understand why. Gargoyles slash Dynamite slash Pterodactyls picked him up, and they had 9.1 points per game last year. The Denver defense, who had a good year, had 7.4, so just a tremendous year for the all fantasy team defense. Now for the fantasy awards honors, Dave Pujic Award for the most transactions on the year. I believe last year was the Badgers. Previously it was pretty much me. This year the Dynamite slash Gargoyles have that honor as they made the most moves in the league. Eric Red Award for the comeback player of the year. Patrick Mahomes. Last year he only had 13.3. This year he was almost at 16, and it was a lot better. He kind of tailed off at the end of the year. Third best quarterback this year. Last year he was not really usable in fantasy. This year very consistent. Next year we'll see with the ACL. So the Bruisers made a good pick there, and he also had another player who had a good year, very good year, and you'll see in a little bit in Matthew Stafford. This one was the hard one for me. Undrafted free agent. I gave it to Daniel Jones, 13.8 points per week. He was better earlier, about 15 earlier in the year. Quarterback 8 last year, probably was like quarterback 50, something stupid like that. I also thought about Michael Wilson, but he only really had 4 good weeks, 4 tremendous weeks. But other than that, he was not usable, so that's why he didn't get it. I was tempted though to give it to him. So that was Chris Cardinals getting Daniel Jones. Tom Brady Award for the best late round pick. As previously mentioned, the Bruisers took Matthew Stafford in the 13th round. He had 16 points per week as the quarterback, too. Absolutely no scrambling, completely just passing. So threw it to Devontae Adams with that darn fade route. Was a Kyron Williams manager was not thrilled with those. That 1 yard out was just unstoppable play, either the slant or the fade, whatever they shaded, that's what they did. So congrats to Bernie on that one. Ryan Leaf Award for the first round bust. Justin Jefferson, I'm happy he didn't get hurt this year. Last year, I think I had to give it to someone who got hurt. Um, so this is nice that it went to someone who was not injured. I think it was McCaffrey last year. Fifth pick, 4.2 points per week. Wide receiver 38. Dropping touchdowns when they throw to him, just not having anyone to throw to him. Submarined probably the little big man season because the quarterback obviously was good. The rest of the receivers were good, but he was terrible. Not a fault of his own, but crazy year there. Fantasy honors for the general manager of the year goes to the Dingoes. Made their first Super Bowl pod. Survived the first round bust of Ashton Genty. Wasn't horrendous, but still obviously disappointing for him. And also got George Pickens in the 6th round, which was a great pick, as he has had an awesome year. The MVP of the regular season, I did give it to Jonathan Taylor with his 15.3 points per game. He was the 14th pick, which is a really good value there. So congrats to the Colts on drafting the fantasy MVP this year, who was earlier in the year, in the mid part of the year, was just unreal. 2 or 3 touchdowns a week sometimes, a couple weeks of those, carried him to a few victories. So there we have it. When we're done, I'll be back in 2 weeks, and we will take a look at final prize money, who won the consolation run, who won the championship, and also fantasy MVP. That'll be the last thing. Or fantasy playoff MVP. Sorry, this is the MVP. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Best of luck to everyone and have a good Christmas. I'll see you after Christmas when the fantasy season is over. Thanks. Bye.